The gate had been open for 11 minutes. Linda Torres knew this because she checked the pool camera after. 11 minutes between the moment the wind caught the iron gate and the moment the Belgian Malinois named Coda knocked her grandson to the ground. Michael was 2.5. He had been playing with a garden hose on the back patio, filling a plastic bucket and dumping it on the flagstones. Linda was inside making lemonade. She could see him through the kitchen window. She looked away to slice a lemon. In those 11 minutes, Michael dropped the hose and walked across the yard toward the glinting blue rectangle at the far end of the property. The pool, unfenced except for the iron gate, which had a self-closing latch that Linda checked every morning. The wind had caught it. The camera showed the gate swinging open at 2:37 p.m. The latch hadn't engaged, pulled it wide enough for a child to walk through. Coda had been lying on the patio. When Michael dropped the hose and turned toward the pool, Coda stood up. He didn't bark. Personal assistant accessible at your fingertips anytime you want, when you need it most. Introducing, please. He tracked the toddler across the yard at a walk, matching his pace, staying 3 feet behind. When Michael reached the open gate, Coda accelerated. Past the boy, turned and planted himself across the opening, his 75-pound body filling the gap between the gatepost and the fence. Michael tried to go around him. Coda sidestepped. Michael pushed. Coda braced. Michael pushed harder, both hands on Coda's ribs, his small body leaning forward with the determined physics of a toddler who wants to touch the water. Coda knocked him down. Not gently. The dog drove his shoulder into Michael's chest and sent him backward onto the grass. Michael landed on his back, screaming. Coda stood over him, front paws on either side of the boy's shoulders, holding position. Linda heard the scream. She dropped the knife and ran. What she saw from the back door was her dog standing over her grandson, on the ground, the boy pinned and crying. She screamed Coda's name and ran across the yard. She pulled Michael up, grass stains on his back, a small red mark on his chest from the impact. He was unhurt, but terrified. Coda stood between them and the pool, panting, his eyes locked on the open gate behind him. Linda carried Michael inside and locked the back door. She called her daughter, Gabriella, Michael's mother, and told her what happened. The dog knocked Michael down, unprovoked, in the yard. Gabriella arrived in 20 minutes. She was a physical therapist. She understood force and body mechanics. She examined Michael. No bruising, no swelling, full range of motion. She was calm until Linda said the words she'd been rehearsing. "I think we need to find Coda another home." Gabriella didn't answer immediately. She looked at the backyard through the kitchen window. She saw the open gate. "Mom, the pool gate is open." Linda turned. She stared at the gate for 4 seconds. Then she sat down. "Happened, if you stay for stories about the ones who act, before anyone understands." They watched the pool camera footage together. Coda tracking Michael across the yard. Coda accelerating at the gate. The block, the pushes, the takedown. Pool had no cover. The water depth at the shallow end was 3 feet. Michael was 32 inches tall. Gabriella rewound the footage to the moment Coda knocked Michael down. Picture, shoulder, was against Michael's chest. His shoulder was against Michael's chest. His rear legs were braced in the grass. He herded him, Gabriella said quietly. He herded him away from the pool. Linda looked at the paused frame. Behind Coda, through the open gate, the pool surface caught the afternoon sun. Flat, still, waiting. Has your dog ever done something physical? Something that looked aggressive? That turned out to be the only thing standing between your family and something worse? Tell us. The pool company installed a magnetic self-closing mechanism on the gate that week. Linda added a secondary latch at the top, out of Michael's reach. She had the fence height extended by 18 inches. Every precaution she took was something Coda had already provided with his body. Every guardian who takes the hit deserves to stay. If stories like this keep you here, subscribe. The next one might be the one you share. That evening, Linda sat on the patio with Coda. Michael was inside with Gabriella, eating crackers at the kitchen table. The sun was setting behind the fence line. Linda put her hand on Coda's back. Back in his mind, Coda didn't move. His eyes were on the gate. It was closed now, latched, locked. He watched it anyway. The pool company arrived 3 days later. The self-closing mechanism they installed was magnetic, a system that required deliberate effort to open and closed automatically with 15 pounds of pull force. Linda tested it 7 times while the installer watched, 2 inches from the ground, beyond the reach of any child under 5, and most children under 7. Tight was extended from 4 feet to 5 feet 6 inches along the pool perimeter. A pool alarm was added, a floating sensor that triggered when the surface was broken by anything heavier than 15 pounds. Every precaution was something Coda had already provided with his body. The veterinary behaviorist who evaluated Coda the following week confirmed what Linda had suspected but couldn't articulate. Belgian Malinois, bred for police work, military operations, and personal protection, perform what trainers call proactive interdiction. They don't wait for the threat to arrive. They assess trajectory, calculate interception points, and position themselves before the subject reaches the danger zone. Your dog tracked the toddler's path, identified the open gate as the terminal point, and accelerated to block the opening before Michael could pass through, the behaviorist said. When physical blocking failed, when the child continued pushing, the dog escalated to the minimum force required to prevent passage. A body check, not a bite, not a pin, a shoulder strike designed to redirect without injury. The behaviorist's answer was simpler than she expected, but he doesn't know the pool is dangerous. He knows the gate is a boundary. When the boundary opened, the child moved toward it. The dog's job, the job his breeding programs designed him for over 100 years, is to keep the vulnerable member of the pack inside the boundary. The pool is irrelevant. The open gate is the trigger, one more time that evening. She paused at the frame where Coda accelerated past Michael, the moment the dog shifted from tracking to interception. His body was low, ears flat, hind legs driving into the grass. Not playing, not anxious, working. Then she paused at the frame after the takedown. Coda standing over Michael, 4 paws planted, head turned toward the open gate, body between the boy and the water, not moving until someone who could close the gate arrived. Linda sat on the patio that night with Coda beside her. The sun had set. Pool surface was dark and still behind the new fence, the new latch, the new magnetic closure that would never swing open in the wind again. She put her hand on Coda's back, to his ribs expanding under her palm. His breathing was slow. His eyes were half closed. He wasn't watching the gate. He was resting, because the gate was closed. And because resting was what you did when the boundary held, and the vulnerable member was inside, and the job, for now, was done. But his ears were forward, even in rest, even in the dark, listening for the sound of a latch that didn't catch.